モンモンデジモン育てるモンモンモンモンデジモンペンデュラムバトルの前には振りますモンモン
振って対戦ニューバトルデジモンペンデュラムモンスター合体もできるよ。
モンモンデジモン育てるモンモンモンモンデジモンペンデュラムバトルの前には振りますモンモン
振って対戦ニューバトルデジモンペンデュラムモンスター合体もできるよ。
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of TamaPodtchi. This video and podcast episode actually doubles as my answer for day 20 of the 30-day virtual pet challenge because it was a little more involved than the previous day's prompts. So, day 20's prompt is connection or no connection, meaning a virtual pet's more enjoyable with the connectivity functionality or without it. So I wanted to discuss the pros and cons of having the ability to connect in a virtual pet. Before we begin, the other week I uploaded a video explaining the history of connectivity in virtual pets. So if you're interested in that, I suggest you watch that video prior to this one, just to give you a little bit of a background. First of all, we'll go to our pros. So basically, the main pros of connectivity are increased functionality. So this means jogress in Digimon or mate and breed and give presents in Tamagotchis. The Tamagotchi meets and mix do this really well in the way that I've mentioned a few times in different videos, that you can actually breed your Tamagotchis and have the offspring have genes from both the mother and the father, and then you can continue breeding and continue adding genes into the gene pool. So that's fairly cool. I like that functionality. With the mix, you could either breed with other mixes or you could breed with the Tamagotchis that you meet in the areas inside the pet itself. But the Tamagotchi meets expanded on this and actually had you connect to an app on your phone, and what you could do is you could propose to real people in the app, and they will either accept or deny, and if they accept, you will actually get to breed with their Tamagotchi and sort of add that into the family tree, and whatever genes that they have, your offspring has a chance of inheriting those genes. So that's pretty cool. And obviously the main pro of connectivity is the fact that you can play with your friends. If your friend has a compatible device, you can either connect with them or battle with them if you're on the Digimon or jogress or breed or pass presents back and forth or play games. And in the Tamagotchi, you're actually able to increase your friendship with how many people you connect with. So you connect to someone a certain number of times, you eventually become better and better friends. So that's fairly neat. The connectivity functionality also, I feel, increases the longevity of play. So with the increased amount of features such as jogress or having the ability to breed or unlock areas and locations from how many times you connect or get different evolutions depending on how many battles you have in Digimon, for example, it adds additional features that overall increase how long you can play with that device for. However, and I have this down as a sort of segue to our cons, it's actually hard to have all this connectivity if you are a kid with no money or without any friends who are interested. If you only have a very specific friend circle and that friend circle isn't interested in Digimon or Tamagotchis, or they don't have the ability to buy a virtual pet, it's actually kind of hard. So as I said, that brings us into our cons of connectivity. So as I said, it requires friends or for you to have a second or even third device, and the device is not standalone. You need the ability to connect to another device. And even newer models of Digimon require you to, for example, connect to 5 other devices to unlock an egg. So if you don't have friends, or if you don't have the Digimon Helper or Digimon Online or a DCOM or anything, or the ability to buy additional devices, you actually are missing out on some key functionality. So it favours those with a lot of friends who are interested, as well as favours those with enough money to buy multiple Digivices or Digimon and or Tamagotchis or whatever virtual pet. And obviously Digimon Online and the Digimon Helper aren't official releases. Those are just fan-made products. So while those do make it easier for people to unlock the special locations or special features, it's not official. Like, it's not it's Bandai hasn't given that to us. So that's a bit of a con. And in terms of online play, so the Tamagotchi Meets app, which is the current ability to play online with the Tamagotchi Meets, can become obsolete quickly. So Tamatown with the connections and the Tamago Tamatown, that's all gone. That's all obsolete. You can't find that anywhere online anymore. The US D-Power online game, the servers for that shut down a long time ago. You can still use the CD, but if you wanted to connect your D-Power to the computer, you actually need a serial port. And modern PCs do not have serial ports. You can get a USB to serial adapter, but it's kind of annoying to set up that way. So all of the online plays will become obsolete. We had the version 20th Digimon Online Tournament where you would add passwords from your Digimon to that website. That's going to go away. And one day the Meets app for the Tamagotchi Meets, that will also go away. So any online play will only last a few years and then will be replaced by something else. So nothing that's online is good for connectivity because it's not going to be there forever. The Meets is going to keep on releasing updated versions of the Meets, but then one day the Meets app will just not work. The servers will go down, we won't be able to download the app anymore, it will go away. And that's just the bottom line for all of online play. It will go away. So anything that's, like if I pick up a Meets in 20 years from now, there'll effectively be options that I can't get to. I won't be able to get to the app option because, well, I'll get to it, but then I won't be able to connect to it to my app because the servers will most likely be down. And obviously it'll just feel like, it'll feel when I pick up the Tamagotchi connection, it'll be like, there's an option here that is now completely obsolete and I can't access it. So for me, that's a fairly big con. Another con is that, well, it's more of a pro for not having connectivity, but without the connectivity functionality, the device overall is simpler and the evolution requirements or locations that you need to unlock are all easier to achieve without a second device. So I believe it was the Cinero Meets that you didn't have to connect to two other devices in order to unlock any locations, which is good because it means that you only have to have one. For the majority of the Meets, you actually have to connect to two other devices or one device that actually already has this location in order to unlock the sports park location, or the sports plaza rather. And that's kind of annoying because each Meets, that's a bit of a tongue twister, will cost about, I think it's about 70 Australian dollars, sometimes upwards of 100 plus Australian dollars. So that means you need to buy like two other ones. So that's several $100s just to unlock this location. And my understanding is that Tamagotchi doesn't have a fan-made helper like the Digimon Helper or Digimon Online or DCOM or anything to make that easier. So no workaround. You just straight up need to buy another one or have a friend who can buy one. And that's kind of annoying. And otherwise you just don't go to those locations. And for the mix, because you can't breed online, the only way to breed is with the other Tamagotchi mixes or with your in those locations. If you wanted to breed with a Tamagotchi from that location, you're out of luck because you can't unlock that location. Anyway, and my last con is that, or again, it's more of a pro for not having connectivity, but overall it's cheaper to not have the connectivity functionality. In many ways, obviously, if you only need one toy, you only need to buy one, you don't need to buy two, so it's that cheaper in that way. But also, it would be cheaper to not have Bluetooth or infrared in a device rather than having it. And so that's basically all my cons. So overall, in conclusion, I actually do, having said all that, prefer having the connectivity rather than not having it. The overall longevity of play is more important to me, and obviously in terms of Digimon, we have online and the helper, and it makes getting those hurdles of unlocking those eggs or getting the battles, anything required to evolve or required to get all the Digimon available, is a lot easier. For Tamagotchi, however, I think I probably prefer Tamagotchis to only to have not connectivity, but overall I prefer connectivity. But in terms of Tamagotchis, it is a lot harder with Tamagotchis to get by with just the one. As I said, there's no Tamagotchi equivalent of the helper or the DCOM, and also Tamagotchi rely on the website to be available, or the app to be available, and that will eventually, as I said, become unavailable and obsolete. So in general, connectivity is something I prefer it to have, but that's primarily because of Digimon making it not impossible. And Tamagotchi just sort of requires it a lot more than Digimon. So yeah, there's the answer, but there are a couple of reasons, and I'd be interested to know about what any of the listeners or viewers think, if they prefer Digivices or Digimon or Tamagotchis or any virtual pet to have connectivity, or if they prefer it to not have the connectivity. So thanks for listening, and also thanks for watching. The link dump's in the description where you can find the video version of this podcast, and that's obviously if you're listening to the audio version, you might want to see the very brief, very shite slideshow that I set up. So if you wanted to watch that, it's linked in the description in the link dump. And you can also find a link to the 30-day virtual pet challenge if you wanted to undertake it yourself. While I started on June 1st, and I'm going to be doing it until the end of June, you can start at any time if you want, and I'd be really interested to see anyone's answers to each of the day's prompts. The Redbubble's also linked in the description, and you can get more than just shirts there too. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on our website, LostinTranslationmon.com. You can also vote in polls, check our release schedule, and our blog posts. You can also follow us at @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit. And we would appreciate if you would view us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast app that you use. We hear that ratings assist people finding out about the podcast, so leave us one if you have the time, and I also will read them out, obviously. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. That gets you access to a Listen Discord server, but there are higher levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, the ability to suggest videos for us to cover, and more. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon: Joe, Anime Guy, who's Anime Guy Kurosaki 1 on YouTube, Stephen Reeves, who's Wildmix64 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Chisai, follow on Tumblr at Chisai236, Kyle, Tom, Lizmet, who is Electmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Metal Mimimon, Sam, Spiral, Keith from a computer podcast on the internet, Silverhead Freak 25, Magnus, and Lucas. You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which you can find in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon, and you can also donate to me on Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/Edra. And thanks for listening/watching, and I will see you guys in the next video/podcast. Bye!